All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a huge shift in cybersecurity, and we're not using just any guide. We're using the official playbook from the National Security Agency itself. We're talking about a concept called zero trust. For decades, we've pretty much thought about cybersecurity like building a medieval castle. You'd build these huge walls and a deep moat, a really strong perimeter, and just assume everything inside was safe. Well, that model, it's broken. The new way, the zero trust way, is completely different. It runs on a simple but incredibly powerful mantra: never trust, always verify. It basically assumes the bad guys could already be inside the walls.
So, that castle analogy is a great starting point, right? But it brings us to the big question. What does zero trust actually mean when you get down to it? Let's go from the high-level idea to the official definition. Okay, but first, why the huge rush? Well, the reality is the old castle walls have been breached time and time again. And because of these super sophisticated cyber threats, we've seen government directives, like Executive Order 14028, that now mandate a total modernization of the nation's cybersecurity. This isn't just a good idea anymore, it's a national priority.
And here it is, the official definition right from the playbook. Zero trust is a framework where trust is never just assumed. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're inside the network or outside, your location doesn't get you a free pass anymore. Every single request to get to data or use an app has to be individually checked out, authenticated, and explicitly approved based on a super strict policy.
So here's the crucial thing to understand. Zero trust isn't just some new software you can buy and install. It's a total, fundamental shift in thinking. The NSA's guidance really hammers this home. Adopting a zero trust mindset across the whole organization is absolutely essential. It's a culture change where everyone has to be trained to think this new way.
This slide really shows you what that mindset looks like in practice. It's this constant, never-ending cycle of monitoring what's happening, verifying users are who they say they are, and validating their permissions. And all of it is built on two core assumptions, which you can think of as a digital gate that's always shut. First, you assume the network is always hostile, and second, you deny all access by default until it can be proven safe.
So, you might be wondering, how does a massive, sprawling organization even begin to do something this big? Well, that's exactly where our source document comes in. The NSA created an official playbook to guide the way. And this really shows you how serious this is. The NSA developed these Zero Trust Implementation Guidelines, or ZIGs, for the nation's most critical systems. We're talking national security systems, the Department of Defense, and the huge defense industrial base that supports them. The stakes really could not be higher. Okay, before we go any further, let's just quickly get the jargon out of the way. You're going to see these acronyms all over the playbook. ZT, that's easy, Zero Trust. ZIG is the Zero Trust Implementation Guideline we're talking about. And of course, the NSA is rolling this out for the DoD, the Department of Defense, and the DIB, the Defense Industrial Base. All right, now that we're all speaking the same language, let's keep going.
So how do you actually build this thing? I mean, a transformation this massive can't happen overnight. The NSA totally gets that, so they broke the entire process down into a structured, phased roadmap. It's a journey, not a sprint. And here are the 5 major phases of that journey. It all starts with a discovery phase, which is basically just figuring out what you even have. From there, it moves through phases 1 and 2 to get you to what they call a target level of zero trust. And after that, phases 3 and 4 are all about pushing organizations into an even more sophisticated, advanced level of security. And here's a peek at how they make it all manageable. Now, this table looks complex, I know, but it shows the incredible level of detail here. Each of those phases is broken down into what they call pillars and capabilities. So for example, under the user pillar, the very first step is user inventory. I mean, it's just figuring out who is on your network. It sounds so basic, right? But in a massive organization with decades of old systems and people coming and going, that's a monumental task, and it's the foundation for everything else that comes after. Every single step is laid out just like this. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've seen the what and the how, but let's really refocus on the why. Why go through all this trouble? Why does this complex, difficult, and let's be honest, expensive transition actually matter?
When you boil it all down, this is the goal.
It's all about giving our cyber defenders a real fighting chance. The entire Zero Trust framework is designed to empower them to better secure the nation's most sensitive information. We're talking everything from critical data and applications to the essential assets and services that we all depend on.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The very first sentence of the NSA's own executive summary says it loud and clear. Zero Trust isn't just another small update. It is a fundamental enhancement in how we do cybersecurity.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This whole philosophy is started in the digital world to protect data. But as our digital and physical lives become more and more intertwined, you have to wonder, will this core principle of never trust, always verify, eventually become the default rule for, well, for everything?